Straight ahead on 12 News, reducing crashes at a dangerous Maple Grove intersection. The plan engineers have come up with. But first, recapping the local vote, from history made in Brooklyn Park to races that are still not fully decided. 12 News starts right now. Hello and thanks for joining us. It was not only a historic election night nationally, but also locally.
Yeah, Republican victories, including a key race right here in the northwest suburbs, have likely helped the party gain control of the Minnesota Senate. The unofficial tally has the GOP with 34 Senate seats to the DFL's 33. That counts a razor-thin victory by Republican Paul Anderson in District 44, Terry Bonoff's former seat that includes Plymouth and Minnetonka. Anderson beat DFL challenger Deb Calvert by just 201 votes, and the result will likely trigger a recount. And today, reporter Sonia Goins caught up with Anderson in Plymouth.
Mike and Alex, I'm joined with Paul Anderson, the winner of Senate District 44. Thanks for joining us.
Well, thanks for having me. This is it's an exciting day.
So tell me the reaction. I know it's a very small margin. What is the reaction to your win?
Well, it's a lot of hard work. We knew this was going to be a tight and close race, and I'm grateful for my opponent, Deb Calvert, and all the work she put in. I think we're a better district for this. This is an independent district, and you got to work hard, and you got to be accountable. But this is someplace I grew up. I love this community. I love Minnetonka. I love Woodland. This is just going to be a great step forward in what we can get done for our area.
And speaking about the district, Hillary Clinton got 50% of the vote in District 3, but yet folks voted for Paulsen and yourself. How do you explain that?
Well, it's an independent-minded district, and people look into the candidates. And I think when you have a local candidate that people know, they can get to know you. You knock on thousands. We knocked on over 15,000 doors. And when you get a chance to visit with people, whether it's at the coffee shop, whether it's at the door, whether it's on the telephone, they get a chance to kind of kick the tires and see who you are. And I think that helps a lot.
Now, I know you served as district director for Jim Ramstad, and you were deputy director for Tim Pawlenty. How will these experiences, help you in your new role?
Well, it's a lot of preparation. These are people that I have great respect for. Congressman Ramstad served this area for 28 years in the state Senate and the U.S. Congress and was rewarded time and time again because he met people where they're at. He worked really hard for his constituency, and he represented the district. And Governor Pawlenty, who served as governor for 2 terms, I mean, working in state government and working closely with the caucuses and understanding the system, I think that experience will go a long ways to help our communities get things done in St. Paul.
I know affordable health care is a big issue for Minnesotans in general, but in particular for folks in Plymouth. How do you go about fixing this?
Well, that is the question of the day. This is something that for the last couple weeks, the last couple months, as I was going door to door, many people were saying that now their health care premiums are now at or higher than their mortgage payment. I mean, that's just unsustainable, and families are in crisis in their pocketbooks trying to pay for health care. So we're going to have to dive into this and figure this out, and I think it's going to be priority number 1 here going into the session.
Okay, well, thanks for joining us. I know you have a lot of things to do today, but we really appreciate you joining us.
Happy to do it. Thanks.
Okay. Mike and Alex, back to you.
All right, thank you. We also spoke with Deb Calvert, who tells 12 News that she will request a recount. The Democratic candidate is not sure, though, when that recount would occur.
Democrat Terry Bonoff gave up that District 44 state Senate seat to run against incumbent Congressman Eric Paulsen. And Tuesday night, the Republican Paulsen rolled on to a 5th term, defeating Bonoff by more than 13%. At an election victory party in Bloomington, Paulsen said it was a tough race due to the millions of dollars that came in from outside the state for negative ads. Paulsen says he's humbled by the win, and he believes voters sent a message that they want change in Washington.
The elections come and go, but in the end, you just got to keep building relationships. I've done that. I'm going to continue to do that. Our Minnesota delegation works together really well on a bipartisan basis. That's not going to go away, and so we just got to kind of spread that around the rest of, other regions, the rest of Congress, and then that'll lead to more positive solutions.
Bonoff told her supporters she's proud of the work they've done together. She leaves public office after more than 10 years in the state Senate. And now to city council and school board races that were so close, automatic recounts are likely.
In a race for 2 Osseo council seats, Mark Schultz was re-elected, but for that second seat, the next 2 highest vote getters, Harold Johnson and Kathleen Getty, were separated by just 4 votes. And in the race for 3 Osseo school board seats, 2 candidates were separated by just 270 votes. In this race, 2 incumbents both lost. Mike Ostaffi, Heather Douglas, and Stephanie Fortner were the top 3 vote getters, with Megan Curtis closely behind. In Brooklyn Park, one city council race made history.
Delane Cleveland joins us for more on that. Delane?
Mike and Alex, Brooklyn Park is a city of roughly 80,000 people. About half of the population is made up of minorities, and yet there has never been a person of color on the city council. That all changed last night with the election of Susan Pa.
I think that's very significant for me and also for this entire Brooklyn Park community. And it's also part of the reason why I've had so much support. There's a lot of neighbors, my neighbors and residents here, that believe that we should have a more diverse city council.
Susan Pa won the election with 56% of the vote. She defeated her challenger for Brooklyn Park's West District Council seat, Amy Hansen, by more than 1,200 votes. Part of Pa's winning formula revolved around getting donations from residents and people in the Hmong community. She raised more than $36,000 during her campaign for city council, and she said she owes much of it to her years as a community organizer.
And for me, it was just really a call out to people and say, hey, you guys know me. You know why I'm running. Will you come and support me? And the money gets kind of rolled in. It's not from big endorsement. It's not from these big corporations. It's really from just residents here in Brooklyn Park and throughout the Twin Cities.
She won't have to wait long to get started. The City Council will hold a special meeting on Thursday to declare her as the person who will fill John Jordan's vacancy. And Pa will officially be sworn in on Monday. Mike and Alex?
All right, Delane, thank you. In other news now, Brooklyn Park police are looking for a hit-and-run driver who critically injured a man late Tuesday night.
The incident happened shortly after 11 p.m. at the intersection of County Road 81 and 71st Avenue North. That's near the Wendy's restaurant. Witnesses say a dark-colored sedan traveling southbound on 81 struck the male victim and didn't stop. Police say the vehicle should have damage to the front end, and anyone with information is urged to call Brooklyn Park Police.
An intersection prone to serious crashes in Maple Grove is getting closer attention. Since the start of the year, there have been at least 17 crashes at Elm Creek Boulevard and County Road 81. Engineers are making changes to reduce that trend. After this September crash that killed a man from Blaine, 2 more less serious crashes occurred here the next day. Part of a trend that's adding up to what engineers say is an unacceptable number of collisions.
Not everybody's familiar with the area and the way traffic flows through here. And sometimes when you're coming out, you know, which way am I turning? There's some distractions potentially here too as well.
When experts reviewed the crash data at County Road 81 and Elm Creek Boulevard, they found half of the injury crashes involved right angle or T-bone collisions, most involving drivers running a red light on Elm Creek Boulevard and getting hit by drivers at high speed on County Road 81. Engineers received feedback from some of the drivers involved.
They said they had trouble seeing the signal, or they didn't know that they ran a red light. So they're clearly traffic violations, but when you get a pattern that people are repeating that say, hey, I didn't see it, then we want to take a harder look to make sure, say, why not?
Some improvements are already in place to make the stoplights stand out, like these reflective yellow borders and a new traffic signal that has been added to the 3 already there.
You can see it up there on the right. There's 4 signal heads on the right. There used to be 3, and then there's 1 on the left. So we have a total of 5 signal heads up there.
In addition, they plan to add small blue lights to help police see when motorists are running a red light.
We just want to make sure that we're considering, you know, everything that we can to improve the safety.
And the engineers say they will continue to review the crash history at that corner and make further changes if needed. Still ahead, an award-winning economics teacher's best advice to students. That's coming up next in Money Savers.
Then a little bit later in sports, the Hopkins and Champlin Park volleyball teams get set to begin play at the state tournament.
But first, still warm on Thursday, but it turns cooler on Friday.
Forbes magazine says teaching kids about money is one of the most important lessons you can teach.
And that's a lesson one teacher at Armstrong High School teaches every day, and he's won an award for it too. Reporter Shannon Slatton spoke with James Ruttlesheimer today to find out about the best advice he passes along to students.
It's one of the most important classes that students can take to become financially literate.
How do you get to be a millionaire?
Boom, 1.7 million. Holy cow.
James Ruttlesheimer knows if that doesn't make a high school student perk up,
With compounding interest,
nothing will.
it's almost $1 million. A lot of kids come in and this is their first exposure. So I was fortunate enough to have my parents who taught me good finances, and I'm able to pass it on, but a lot of kids come in and don't have any experience.
Ruttlesheimer has taught economics, a required class for high schoolers in Minnesota,
Starts out boring.
for 16 years.
That's going to get exciting at the end. We're going to start with our introduction to our new unit, personal finance. My favorite to teach. So please take out your notes.
Recently, he got a state award for teaching personal finance.
We'll do 200, start at 22.
And you can tell
She's making $50,000 of interest a year.
it's something he's passionate about.
That's just working on its own magically. There's so many things that relate to kids' lives with economics.
His best advice to students is very basic but true.
One thing I always tell my students is there's no free lunch. In other words, if there's something in life they want, they're going to have to earn it.
But with planning and discipline,
That can get you $1 million.
achieving even millionaire status is possible.
There's no magical job waiting out there that's going to let them have unlimited expenditures or they don't have to work for it. They need to work it to get skills to make themselves invest in themselves, which I tell students is the best investment they can make.
In Plymouth, Shannon Slatton, 12 News.
Coming up, a much-needed post-election treat.
But first, some of the area's top athletes signed national letters of intent to play college sports. Jay Wilcox has that and much more coming up next in sports.
It's a big day for some elite high school athletes, their families, and future teams. Wednesday marks the first day that high school seniors can sign national letters of intent for college basketball, volleyball, hockey, baseball, and more. At Maple Grove High School, 6 athletes signed letters of intent, including 3 players from the state runner-up girls hockey team, baseball pitcher Bubba Horton with Minnesota, and basketball star Brad Davison signing with Wisconsin. Champlin Park had a very impressive group. 8 athletes in all signed, including volleyball star Sydney Hilly with Wisconsin and basketball standouts McKinley Wright with Dayton and Theo John with Marquette. Wayzata had 13 signees in 7 different sports, including state champion swimmer Carly Quast with Notre Dame and 2 girls hockey players with D1 programs. 4 female athletes at Heritage Christian Academy signed, 3 of them for volleyball and state champion Kara Smith for golf. Osseo volleyball players Ellie Hoyt and Tina Bowe put their choices in writing. Park Center, Hopkins, and Armstrong also had signing ceremonies. Here's what a few athletes had to say.
I'm just really excited to get down there. I think the biggest thing for me was just my relationship with the coaching staff and the guys that are already there and the commits that they have coming in. It's just the perfect place for me.
Well, I mean, it's a great opportunity for me and my family, for me to further my education and basketball career. Wojo is running a great program over there, and really excited to be a part of the Marquette family.
When I went on my official visit, I came back and I wanted to commit right away. But then I was like, nope, I have to go to another school and just see the difference between them. And then in my car ride home from Michigan, actually, I called the Notre Dame coach and committed. It's an amazing program.
Check out a list of local signings on our website, 12.tv. The Hopkins volleyball team is back in the state tournament for a 2nd straight year, and the Royals go into the biggest tourney of the season riding an 18-match winning streak. Here's Jason Malillo with more.
How good is the 2016 Hopkins volleyball team? Well, longtime head coach Vicki Swenson thinks it might be the best squad she's had.
You know, we've had great players come through the Hopkins volleyball program. I think what sets this team apart is that we don't just have 3 talented players, we have a whole team full of talented players, and I think our depth is what really sets us apart in a sense that I do believe this is the best team we've had at Hopkins, 1 through 12.
The Royals were strong all season, playing and beating some of the top teams. But they also hope to draw on their experience at last year's state tournament.
I think just having been there last year, there won't be as many nerves because we kind of know the atmosphere, so we can just go out there and play right away, and we won't have to take as long to adjust to how it is in the Excel.
Any team in any sport wants to progress throughout a season and be playing its best at the end. The Royals believe that's what they've done, and why they're one of the last 8 teams standing.
From the beginning of the year, we have improved a lot if you have watched our film, and I'm just so proud of what we've accomplished. And we have come like really far in the year, and I'm really like excited to go to state.
I believe this team can play with the best teams in the state and can beat them on any given night. So I think the tournament is wide open this year, more so than ever.
Jason Malillo, 12 Sports.
The Royals meet Moorhead in the state quarterfinals at the XL Energy Center Thursday. Champlin Park is the number 2 seed for the Class 3A tournament. The Rebels survived a mighty challenge to reach that state tournament. And they're back at work getting set for their 3rd consecutive state tournament appearance. Champlin Park rallied from a 2-1 deficit to edge Wyzetta in a 5-set thriller in the Section 5 3A championship match Saturday. It wasn't easy, but it might help the Rebels to be ready for state.
Yeah, it just kind of tested our readiness, our ability to play against a really good team. So yeah, it definitely tested us that game on Saturday.
It's a veteran group for Champlin Park, with most of the players having been in the state tournament at least last season. They'll find another familiar thing at the XL Center Thursday. Quarterfinal opponent Roseville was also a Rebels state foe in each of the last 2 years.
I'm actually excited because I think every year it's kind of just a tradition. Oh, we're playing Roseville again, and I think it'll be a really fun game again.
It has been 2 exciting matches the last couple times we played them, and you know, just excited to be down there. But there is some history, so it's fun and it's positive history and exciting on both sides.
So it's Roseville versus Champlin Park, also at 11 a.m. Thursday at the XL Center. So, and then we could possibly see a Champlin Park Hopkins matchup in the semis if they both win.
Games to watch, right?
That'll be fun.
Thanks, Jay. We'll be right back.
And finally, on this day after the election, no need to pick sides anymore. A Maple Grove cupcake shop has a treat that everyone can get behind.
That is true. The folks at Nadia Cakes offer up the election hangover cupcake, decorated with red, white, and blue, of course. The Maple Grove shop is known for coming up with clever cupcakes that speak to the topics of the day, and this one is no exception.
We really kind of keep an eye on, things happening in pop culture and, the media, and try to, tie that into our baked goods in a, funny, more lighthearted way. People tend to, kind of enjoy things like that.
The cake decorator describes this particular cupcake as generally patriotic and not leaning one way or the other. That does it for us. Thanks for joining us.
And thanks for joining us. See you again tomorrow.